It's my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar, the first in a series of initiatives organized by the Research Unit under the guidance of the Vice Deanship of Graduate Studies and Scientific Research here at the ELI. I'm delighted to see so many colleagues joining us today from both campuses. So this webinar is part of our ongoing efforts to foster research excellence, collaboration, and knowledge exchange. Today's session will focus on critical thinking in research, a subject of great relevance to our academic and professional community. We're honored this evening to have Dr. Tifuti with us, who will share his insights and expertise. I encourage you to engage actively, ask questions, and make the most of this opportunity. Also, please note that we will keep a few minutes at the end of the session for questions and answers. And also at the end of the session, we will send a Google feedback form where you can provide your valuable feedback and confirm your attendance for certification purposes. The form also allows you to express your interest in collaborating with us to present webinars on research and publications in the future. We would be very delighted to have you present with us. So before we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce our speaker. Dr. Tifuti is an ELT expert, published author, and teacher trainer with more than 23 years experience in teaching, supervising language teachers and students. He holds an MA in English language teaching from Thames Valley University, London, and took the Doctorate of Education in TESOL at the University of Exeter, UK. He's also a certified teacher trainer from International House, London, and currently he is the course coordinator of IE200, a communication course in English for engineering students at KAU. So now I will hand over to Dr. Tifuti to begin this session.
All right, let's get started with a question. Yeah, when we do research, where or when does our critical thinking start? In which phase of the research you think, we have to use our critical thinking? Okay, some people are saying in the discussion part. All right. Yeah, any answers, please? This is just to get us into the topic. When do we start using our critical thinking when we do research? Yeah? Actually, critical thinking starts before, the discussion, even before the data collection phase. Muhammad is saying research questions. Very good, Muhammad, thank you. Yeah, thinking about the validity of the questions, the research questions themselves. In my opinion, critical thinking starts with the very beginning. Yeah, even at the stage of choosing your research topic. Yeah, at that stage you start using your critical thinking because you need to get into the area of research that is of valuable, you see, and it starts from there. And you have to use your critical thinking to make a decision. In which area of research am I going to embark? Yeah. So it starts from there. And the problem with a lot of research is that we just get into research and we don't think of the value of what we're doing. If you're not doing something valuable to yourself as a researcher or as an educator or as a thinker, all right, then maybe you're missing the point and you're not using your critical thinking properly. Because slowly, inshallah, within the session, we'll get to know what critical thinking means. And of course, we'll look at it in the research. Because critical thinking, what it is, looking at so many things, exploring so many things, and then slowly you reach a kind of a judgment or a decision or a conclusion. So for me, it starts right from the beginning before you even think of your topic. So you think of the area, the big area, and then you start narrowing down that big area until you reach your topic or your research topic. And even then, when you're into the research topic, there's something still missing, which is the focus of that topic. Yeah. So slowly you need to as Iyad is saying, your perspective. But let me keep the term focus, okay? And the focus should be clear enough. So you need clarity, and it should be also valuable. Yeah. So these are the two things you need to have before you get into research. The big area, narrow it down to the research topic, and then even going deeper to find your focus. Okay? And then, of course, after that, so from topic selection, you've selected our topic, we're happy with it, it's focused, it's clear, all right? And all of these needs critical thinking to get there. You see, you're using your critical thinking to make decisions, the right decisions, right from the beginning. And then you go to the second phase, which is data collection. Even at the level of data collection, there is a lot of critical thinking taking place here. Anybody can tell me, where do we use critical thinking in data collection? Any suggestions, please? Yeah, what do we do at this phase, the phase of data collection? Yeah, you said quantitative or qualitative. Okay, thank you very much, Ed. You reminded me. Look, the focus of our discussion today is on qualitative only and interpretive. Yeah, this is where I did my research. I'm more of a qualitative guy. I didn't do any experimental or quantitative research. So the focus today in our session is only on qualitative. So let's stay there. Now, data collection, where is the critical thinking in here? We know, as most of you mentioned, most of the critical thinking is going to be in the later phase, which is the discussion of the results and the data analysis. Yeah. But even at this stage, data collection, there is critical thinking. Where and how? Yes, excellent. The tool you need to use to collect your data. Yes, selecting the tool, very good. The tools or the methods of data collection. And we know there are many methods. Which one actually suits my purpose? And which one helps me get to that focus for my research? Yeah. The rationale for selecting specific excellent samples, tools, variables, all of that. Yeah, so selection, whenever you get to the stage of deciding and selecting, this is critical thinking. Because when we start, as I said, we start with a broad idea. We have so many things on the table, but which one to choose, which one to use? I have to make the right decision. And it's not an easy decision there, which method to use. And one of the ways I'm going to show you in data collection, let me just show you this. There's something called triangulation, right? A critical thinker needs to look at the issue or the investigation he's doing from different angles. So looking at it from different angles, the more angles you have, and of course you have to be rational, and you have to know why you selected that angle, because it helps to get there, to get to the focus. So for example, in terms of data collection, you can think of using more than one data collection. That's critical thinking, all right? That's triangulation. So you could use, like, let's say, interviews plus a questionnaire plus observation. So if you do that, you're looking at it from different angles, and that's critical thinking. And actually, this is one of the key terms in research where they look at your critical thinking, how much triangulation you are using in your research. So that's data collection methods and tools. You also think of the participants in your research. When you choose the sample, the participants, which type of participants are you going to choose? That decision is also part of critical thinking. And you will be questioned. Why have you included or excluded a certain type of participants? Yeah? Let's say, for example, you want to do a study on a certain course or whatever. You look at the students' perspectives, opinions about the course, but you also look at it from the teachers' perspectives, from the parents' perspectives, from the administration perspectives. So the more participant types you include, the more you have, you can see you can reach the reality and the truth of what you're investigating. Because what is research at the end of the day is reaching that reality and that truth about the issue we're investigating. So triangulation is part of a critical thinking in research. So think about it. How much of this have you used in your research? And the evaluators, when they look at your work, there's a part of critical thinking which they need to evaluate how much critical thinking there is. They look at how much triangulation you're using. Yeah, and you need to defend whatever decision, whatever choice you make, to show that there is enough. Yes, triangulation adds more depth and breadth. Excellent. Also, in terms of participants, gentlemen, they also look at the sample size. Yeah, how big it is. You see, the more participants you have involved in your research, the better. Because, you know, in quantitative research, people's opinions and perspectives, and when they gather on when they agree on a certain idea, that idea becomes close to reality. We take it that way. Yeah. So that's something we need to look at. Yeah, to generalize. Yes. Yeah, you cannot reach generalization unless you have a big sample size, big enough sample size. Exactly. It must be, yeah, I said you have to defend. You have to, what's the words? Thank you. To justify, yes. Thank you, Iyad. To justify every choice you make. And if you exclude any of the necessary elements, that's seen as an imperfection in your research. Okay, so let's look at let's go back to, I like to compare research to mining. Yeah, and I look, when you do research, it's very important to use, you know, certain critical thinking by, you know, activity, by looking at things from different angles and also connecting it with familiar things and so on. So here, research is like mining. Yeah. So, and you go through the similar steps. Mining, you try to explore. You look for the right, you know, sites where you can, sites that help you, for example, reach the focus of your research, what you're looking for. Then you extract, and this is what we have data collection. You have to collect all the, you know, the data that is useful, and then you have to refine. You'll end up with a lot of data on the table, but you start selecting, classifying, and refining until you just maintain the necessary material and the necessary data that, yeah. And then, of course, you move to the application, yeah, to take those results and see the implications in life. Because why do we do research? So that we end up with recommendations, with implications, with suggestions, with, and so on. So that's the application. And of course, you continue reevaluating and improving your work. So the research phases follow or are similar to mining, and in all stages you have to use your critical thinking. Right. Now, then we go after data collection. We're happy with the method and the tools and everything. We're happy with the participants, with the sample we have, and so on. Then we start looking at what we've collected. Yeah. And this is where the real work starts. This is where you have to put your critical thinking. It's qualitative analysis is different from quantitative. Quantitative, they have their own way of analyzing the data, a lot of statistical analysis, a lot of mathematics happening. But in quantitative is a little bit, it's more challenging, in my opinion. So what you do with your data, you go through all these actions, all these things. You try to start classifying your data, because it's kind of you're inundated with data. Then you keep looking at it until you organize your data, and then you can extract, and find the right result. So you need to start classifying. You dissect your data. You look for comparisons. You compare the different results that you have. You compare that with your literature review, with similar studies, yeah, and see where they meet, where they don't. Yeah. Also, you look for connections, and then you do your interpretation. And when you do your interpretation, this is where you have to use a lot of critical thinking, because whatever what's the word? Conclusions you make, whatever judgments you make, so you're interpreting here, you have to justify, and you have to use the other one, the argumentation, and you have to use your logic. You have to compare it with other results, whether they support your findings or they don't. Okay, and also you have to use your critical thinking is also questioning everything. You see, you don't have to accept because somebody said it somewhere, then you just take it. No, you need to question that. You see, and then you compare it with different results and so on. You also look. You have to be honest with your work, transparent. Yes, thank you, Malak. You compare, you evaluate the results that you get, and actually we do that in our course, because in our course I200 we teach our students communication through basic research. It's not proper research, if you like, but we just use it as a platform for communication. Why? Because it gives us a nice platform, okay, with all the different sections of the research, from topic selection to data collection, literature review, to data collection, results, discussion, and so on. So we use that, you see, and let me show you what we do, how we get our students to deal with their results. We tell them you can do it this way. Yeah. As Dr. Malak said, you need to evaluate the results. You've got, because the discussion section is preceded by the findings or the results section. So you have the results. At that phase, we tell them just let the results speak for themselves. Don't interfere. Don't give us your opinion or whatever. Yeah, you interpret without. You try to keep your bias. We're going to talk about bias a little later, and that's one of the when you talk about the limitations and so on. So you try to. This is for in our course, yeah. you select the major results and you evaluate them. Okay? How far you agree with those results, and you compare them with results in other studies. You compare them with what you mentioned, what you already told us in the introduction literature review. You can still look for more literature review. It doesn't mean you're because critical thinking is not when you get to this phase you forget about the other phases. No, it's going forward and backward. You continue doing this, you see, because you need to keep looking at it from different angles and even at different times. Sometimes you leave your work for a week or so. It's an interactive process. Thank you, Iyad. So you leave your work and then you come back to it with a refreshed, if you know, or with a new reflection, with a new mindset. If you look, and you can, you know, some researchers, what they do, they lay all their results, you know, on the walls sometimes, on the tables, and they keep looking at them, you know, until they can start seeing the relationships. That's B, showing the okay. Result 1 is related to result number 7, and you explain how. And it's also related to what this research mentioned, or it doesn't. You see, so this is how you. It's finding the connections, finding all the links between the different results. One of the things we tell our students, is there anything in the result that you did not expect? Because now the student is starting to reflect. Oh, at the beginning I was expecting this, but then what I found is different. Or it's just I found what I was expecting. So that's thinking. Yeah, and we have a rubric actually that evaluates students' writing the discussion, and we look at these points. How much of these is he using in terms of, for example, did he mention somewhere that this result was expected or not? Did he mention somewhere that this, you know, this is what he was expecting, and why? Of course, whatever in research, whatever you mention, you need to justify.